can see the top 4 carts pretty much nose to tail. It'd be interesting to see if James Dunn, who's leading, can't break the draft, because that would be huge.
Trying to open up a little bit of a gap and not have the drivers behind him working off of him.
So we can see the drivers are bump drafting to try to catch up, because 2 cars are actually faster than 1.
So it's important to use the power and the strength of the other carts around you to try to gain an advantage and pass the leaders.
For sure. And we can see the driver in 3rd place made a little mistake. The cart before he thought about making a move, but he kept his nose clean.
So how cognizant do these drivers have to be about potentially cutting a corner too much to get some type of penalty or time infraction?
They have to be very cognizant. It's very easy to make mistakes in these things. They're very difficult to drive. Obviously, the rules are is the track limit is the white line on the edge, and then you have the grass. So in some cases, you can actually try cutting the corner, but what happens is you often lose grip, lose traction, and you'll end up losing more time than what you gain.
So Phil Hall, cart number 823, is currently behind James Dunn in 2nd place, and he's doing everything he can to try to get a pass here. It's a very competitive race here in the early going.
We can see how bumpy this track here is. Cars going on these quick and very grippy carts. Every little bump you're going to see the drivers banging around him. It will take a physical toll on them. I'm not saying anything against these faster drivers because they're a little bit older, because they are in very good shape to be driving around, but you never know. Even for the young guys, after the end of the race, you start to see some mental mistakes because of the physical toll these cars are taking.
Coulomb appearing to create a little bit of a gap and break that draft as he tries to escape the chasing Phil Hall. Down the back stretch they come, number 825, still in the lead here.
Spot in the 817. You know, he is very fast this morning. I'm surprised he hasn't tried to make a move, because when James Dunn, who's leading, doesn't make a mistake, he seems to be able to get away. So it might be in Coulom's best interest to try to make a move as soon as possible and not let Dunn get away in the lead.
Coulomb must be a little bit disappointed having the pole position right off the get-go and then fading to 3rd fairly quickly here. He's doing a great job of drafting off of Phil Hall, but it's going to be tough for them to close down. So then Coulomb as they enter the back stretch once again. Continues to be Dunn. Hall, Coulomb are top of the drivers currently in this Masters division of the Capital Karting Grand Prix. Once again, Brett Bonesteel alongside Zach Bubasho here to conclude this race.
See those 3 carts, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, they should try to work together. If I was them, to try to catch up the leader. You know, if I was that guy in 3rd place, I must have to get pretty patient at this point. You know, sometimes patience is a virtue, but sometimes you gotta just get by.
Absolutely. Is there any type of kind of communication that these drivers will use between each other, like hand signals or anything like that? Or
from time to time, you'll see them tap each other on the helmet, and what that's trying to say is like, hey, give me a push so we can catch the guys in front. As we see here, the driver in the 4th spot make a move on Sven Coulomb. You know, like I said earlier, if he had made a move for that 2nd spot, he wouldn't have lost that position. So it's kind of been a situation of pass or be pass, and you know, these guys, they should know that and be a little bit more aggressive.
Is there a pit lane that these drivers could potentially be heading to in these 18 laps, or is that just a little bit too short of a race for that type of thing?
We have an accident here with Sven Coulomb and a few other guys. That's unfortunate.
Wow, so that is a massive turn of events as Sylvain Coulomb is in the middle of the field, not where he wants to be, and he seems very frustrated at the moment.
Yeah. Back to what I was saying, you know, he kind of let that, I'm not saying the accident was his fault, but he should have made the move earlier on, and he left himself in a position to get caught up in an accident. Whenever you're stuck in a group of carts, if you let yourself get pushed around and you don't make any moves, you will lose time, and it's too bad to see, because I think he had a really good shot at the win.
Yeah, so our pole sitter, once again, Sylvain Coulomb, suffers a crash which will more than likely end his day or his shot at victory here this afternoon.
The biggest beneficiary from this is definitely James Dunn, who's now leading. He's got a good gap to the guys behind him, and you know, his closest competitor I believe, would have been Cement-Coulomb and is now gone. So it'll be interesting to see if he can't just keep that gap and stay out in front.
He's got about a second or so over the two chasers at the moment. It's going to take probably a crucial mistake here from James Dunn to give away the victory today.
Absolutely. These two guys, they can try to work together to catch them, but this track is not a track where you can gain a half second in the draft like others. It's not the fastest track, so even working together, I don't know if they'll be able to get that time back. Because when we're talking karting, we're talking about 1 or 2 tenths separating these lap times, and that if you're a second in front, that might be the end of your game.
Going back to potentially cutting corners, what type of punishment would be handed out to a driver who cuts a corner?
Well, what you'll get, it depends on the severity of what he did. Sometimes they'll give you a warning. Normally they'll start with a warning, and then after that they will give you maybe a position penalty. So if you have contact with somebody and you're a beneficiary of it, so you bumped him out of the way, you gain the spot, often they'll give you a 1 position penalty because you gained a 1 position. Or if you cut the track, they might actually give you a time penalty. In karting you won't see stop and go or drive-through penalties like you would in car racing, just because we don't really use the pit lane in karting, so they'll more than likely go with a position or a time penalty.
So if you are heading to pit lane, you probably
your race is
forgotten
over.
about the win. Yeah,
the race is over. These are very much sprint races, and any sort of pit lane, the race is over. Like 1 second seems like almost insurmountable in a go-kart, and if you were to go in pit lane, you'd probably lose 30 seconds. So that's the end of your day for me.
James Dunn continuing to lead the way, kart number 825, and he's just got to concentrate on staying focused and driving to victory here, as he's got a sizable advantage. It continues to open up. Number 828 has taken over Cement-Coulomb's spot as a third-place driver, and he tries to reach the podium here. So Zach, have we reached the halfway point of this race yet?
I'm not sure. We don't have a lap count right here. It must be getting pretty close to the halfway point for sure. I haven't seen anything from the flagman now. I don't know if we just missed it or perhaps he forgot. That happens sometimes. I've been in races where I didn't even know the race was almost over. Normally they'll warn you of the last lap and then you show up and then you need to check the flag. So, it happens. Everybody's working as hard as they can.
Mike Forgay continues to put pressure here on Phil Hall to take over that second position, and that's really the race that we're looking at right now, is the battle for second place, because James Dunn is opening up a sizable advantage on the rest of the field here this afternoon from Karters Corner. And this track in particular, Zach, is it more of a strategic racer's track or somebody that's built more for speed?
It's hard to say. I think all of these guys are built for speed, really. But this track is definitely very technical. It's very tight. It's very narrow. So what you're going to get is, you can't just go. It's not the bravest guy who's going to win here. Certain tracks, some guys are just going to be like, I'm just going to keep my foot in it and just carrying that extra speed. But in a track like this, a lot of tight hairpins. So very technical. So some of these guys that, might be quick elsewhere won't necessarily be quick here just because it's so difficult to get used to this track.
Yeah, and you've really got to keep your head in the game the whole time, being that narrow track, because there's no room for error at all. If you make the slightest mistake, you're probably going to spin out into the middle of the field, and then your day is done.
Not only that, this track seems to be continuously turning. You don't get a break. Even down the back straight, it's not really straight. You're still going left and right. Whereas other tracks, you have nice long straightaways to sort of relax. Here, you have no time to relax, and it's go, go, go all the time.
So we've got a beautiful day out here in Canada, Karters Corner here, 27 degrees, a few clouds in the skies, but mostly blue skies. A little bit of humidity. And how much of a factor does, say, humidity or just weather play in how fast we can expect the race to be?
What's going to happen is these karts are all carbureted, so it's kind of like old-time cars where you have to adjust your carburation depending on the weather. These Briggs motors, there's not much you have to change, but the hotter it gets, the less fuel you actually want. Because the air is a little bit less dense, the air-fuel mixture ratio is very important, so you have to adjust depending on the weather outside. Hot days will actually slow down your motors. Nice, cool fall day. Sunny fall days when the track will be at its fastest, because the track is warm because of the sun, but the air is cool, so the engines breathe really well. So on a hot day like today, your engine won't be quite at peak performance.
Down the back straight, once again comes James Dunn, number 825, still leading the way in this Masters division, and he looks like he wants to all but lock up the victory here this afternoon. And the battle for second between Mike Fourier and Phil Hall continues to be a grind. So there's no real advantage between racers and their karts like we might see, say, in a NASCAR series and an F1 series where the crew really plays such a massive role. Like, what kind of crew do these guys have, or do these folks have for their karts?
A lot of these guys and girls have family as crew members, and some of them actually hire professional mechanics and coaches. There is quite a bit of adjustments you can make on the kart. You can change your width, you can change the rear axle. There's a lot of things where you can play with the stiffness. Either softer or stiffer depending on the track conditions and what the driver wants. So there is a lot of setup work that goes into it, much more than people would think. It's so much more than just a go-kart that you sit in and drive. So it adds a whole other element. So sometimes you can just nail the setup and the kart is just so easy to drive and just acts like it's on rails. So it does have that certain sort of characteristics like in F1 or in NASCAR. Obviously there's not as many adjustments as there would be in a car because we're not talking suspension and stuff. But there is still a lot you can do, and you'll also notice there's different makes and models, but everybody has the same motor, which creates an incredibly fair racing.
So a level playing field for sure. What kind of inspections, are there any type of inspections that these karts go through?
Yeah, so after every race, there's going to be a tech inspection. So they will look at your engine and they'll see if you cheated in any way. What's great about this class again is all these engines are sealed directly from Briggs & Stratton. So if you get to the motor and there's not a Briggs & Stratton